Happy Saturday, everybody. Time to make some dinner. And today we're going to focus on a steak fried rice. We had utilized some steak from yesterday, some rice, and some vegetables that we have in the fridge. And so, most part, what we're going to start off with is the mise en place, is prepping these vegetables before we stir fry everything into the wok. So you're prep and you're done. Your mise en place is everything in its place. And so we're going to focus on the veg today. So we have some chopped garlic here that we're going to chop. You do want to talk about knife safety, and at work I know we use cut gloves, and you want to make sure that you are always practicing knife skills and making sure that you're chopping things safely. Okay, so when I do garlic, I like to just give it a little crunch. Keep the knife blade to the outside. Give it a little crunch like that. Put the knife down. Finish peeling it, and so this will pop right off. And so when I make dishes, I do want to keep the robust flavors of the ingredients. And so chopping garlic, I'll give it another crush and smash it down. And just give it a once chop so it's coarse and very flavored as it fries through. We have garlic here. We're going to put all the mise en place here on this dish as we finish prepping it. And so as we have the chopped garlic, we're going to go into some of the onion. I'm going to give it a slice here. And then just a rough julienne, as you want to keep some of the vegetables thin. So as they fry, they cook quickly. As a stew, you want to keep your vegetables big and chunky because they're going to go ahead and cook for a long time. So when you do a stir fry, you want small cuts. And so we're going to move into the shiitake mushrooms. And all I do with these is I take off the stems. We're going to use 4 of them here. I'll save this for a broth. If I do a beef broth or another vegetable broth, those are good for that. And so with the mushrooms, just give it a thin slice. As you can see, as I continue to cut, you're using that claw hold as you feel the vegetables and hold it this way. And then just give it a slice, keeping your fingertips away from the knife. The knife just glides onto your knuckles there, and you will not cut yourself. So those are our julienne shiitake mushrooms. We're going to put those over to the side here. We already have the pea pods. We're going to leave these whole as sugar snap peas. And then we're going to move into our celery. We have some celery sticks that we had the other day when we went hiking. And so just take these, and when you do it, just don't chop things up in little cubes. Again, that's for beef stew. You want your stir fry to have a little character and the vegetables to have a little fun to them. So put them at an angle. You can bunch them up as a little, but just take it at an angle and go some thick cuts, and that's called on the bias. And so you get some fun little angled cuts there. And so we're going to put those over here as well to the side. When you have your carrots, I didn't peel this, but I rubbed it, right? And so a nice way to not waste the peelings is to give your carrot, save one of your scrub brushes just for vegetables. And what you want to do is just go ahead and get it wet, and you can scrub it, and you'll scrub the dirt and the main layer off, and you don't have to worry about wasting the peel. It gives you the full use of the carrots. So as we take the tip off here, we're going to cut this in half so it's a little more manageable. And so as we take the carrots, and we're going to take again the angle cut like we did with the celery, kind of gives it a little bit of character and depth to the dish. And again, the carrots are a little thinner because they're firm, right? And they're a harder vegetable, so you want to go a little thinner so as they cook throughout the dish, you'll get the right texture at the very end. So there's our carrots. We have celery, carrots, ginger, garlic. We have some red pepper here. I'm not going to use the whole thing. I'll save this for another dish later. So I'm just going to cut that right there, about that. And again, just kind of some nice thin pieces. Kind of match what the celery and the carrots look like as well. And so we have broccoli here that I took a half of broccoli, and please don't waste the stalks of the broccoli.
He hates the waste of the stalk of the broccoli.
Don't waste food. Now there's uses for everything that you have in the kitchen with your food. So even with the broccoli, I will take this and cut it in quarters again. And again, that bias cut, which I'll go thin here on the broccoli stalks, but when I get to the top, I'll stop, and then you get all these beautiful florets. And that will go into the stir fry as well. I don't need all of that. And so the last piece here is some ginger. Ginger is a fun vegetable to use, and so you can either break it in half here and then cut it, and then peel off the edges. And you can use this again for tea, broth, whatever you want. And then we're going to take the ginger here and slice it, and then slice this super thin. Ginger is a very rooty vegetable, so you want to make sure you slice it very thin and mince it a little bit. And mincing, again, is taking little small chunks and continue to chop them into fine little pieces. Again, you don't want to go too fine. I think if you keep them coarse enough, again with the garlic, I think it gives a little more robust flavor and crunch to the dish. And so we're going to put that up to the front here with the ginger and the garlic. And the last piece we have here is some water chestnuts. We're just going to cut those in thirds. And there we have our mise en place, all prepped out for our steak fried rice stir fry. And so when we start this, we're going to start with about 1/3 cup of oil. It seems like a lot, I understand that, but the idea between stir fries is you want to be able to fry the vegetables at a very high heat and then take them out and keep them al dente, and then you have the oil left over from the vegetables that then we'll stir fry the rice with. So we have about 1/3 cup of olive oil, sesame oil, a little drizzle of this, that'll help give it a little flavor, probably a teaspoon or so. Sesame oil is very strong and very potent. And so we have the oil ready to heat up. We're going to stir fry the vegetables first, as you'll see. Hey, welcome back everybody. We are prepared to finish off the dish here. We have our mise en place done. All the vegetables are chopped. The meat is sliced. We've washed up, cleaned our hands, and ready to finish off this dish. So we have the pan here, a little wok bowl of the hot oil. Again, about 1/3 cup or so of olive oil, a tablespoon or so of sesame oil. And so as we prepare the vegetables and the stir fry, we're going to start off with a little bit of the aromatics first, right? And so that's the ginger, the garlic, the onion. And we want to be able to sweat those first and flavor this oil. As you can see, there's a lot of oil in this, but again, we're going to save some of this oil for the rice as we stir fry these vegetables first and season the oil. Then we will go back and take those out and add the rice to fries as well. The ginger, the onion, as you can see, just the outer edge starts to sweat a little bit. And then we're going to go ahead and start to add the rest of the peppers, some of the carrots, the rest of the celery there, some of the heartier vegetables, to let them, again, mix up and stir fry. You want to keep this at a pretty high heat, so as you add more vegetables, you're going to temper down the oil, so you really want to keep that flame up, so it continues to stir fry. Again, you're going to see there's still a lot of oil in here, but we have a lot of vegetables to continue to add. Next, we're going to go ahead and add in the broccoli and the pea pods. You get some of the mushrooms in there, that's okay. And add in the rest of the water chestnuts, some of the mushrooms, and the rest of the vegetables there. You get a little bit of rice mixed in there, that's no big deal. Again, it's all going to be one big dish. So we're going to fry a little bit, a little fancy flip, kind of like you're doing omelets. So we're going to go ahead again, as you can see, those vegetables are getting a nice little coat of the oil. We're going to let those fry for a minute. You don't want these to be overcooked. Again, you want to keep these soft, a little crispy, so when the final dish is over, they're not mushy. So they're going to cook a little bit more once we add more of the rice and more of the meat. And so you don't want to overcook them now because again you're going to cook them more later. So as you can see, the vegetables start to turn a little vibrant green. The outer edge just starts to cook a little bit and bring out their robust colors. And so what we're going to do next is take a slotted spoon or a perforated wok spoon, and we're going to sift out these vegetables. And we're going to put those off to the side here. You can see the oil has a lot of, you can smell it, you really can't see it, but it's got a lot of flavor into that rice, into this oil, I tell you what. Okay, so next, as we see, the oil is still pretty hot. You have a good amount in there. Now we're going to go ahead and fry the rice. And so we'll scoop the rice into the dish. And you can start to hear it sizzle and pop. Ready to let it sit. I recommend a wooden spoon. Stays fine your wok. You don't want to go ahead and ruin your pan. So we'll let that fry a little bit here still. So the rice has been stir frying here for a little bit. We can see that some of the edges are starting to get a little brown and crispy. And so now we're going to go ahead and add in our diced ribeye from yesterday. Cooked perfectly, may I say. Whoop, careful, don't get too crazy when you stir fry. Look at that nice color pinkness in the beef. Again, you want to keep things, I purposely undercooked this ribeye yesterday knowing that I was going to make some sort of leftovers. That's because what we got, right? And so, as you can stir fry the meat and the rice, we're going to go ahead and add in the rest of the vegetables. And kind of mix these up. Continue to sizzle, sear, and fry. Look at that beautiful dish. Okay, as that continues to sear a little bit, we do have some additional ingredients. We're going to make a sauce here pretty soon, but I do want to go ahead and season the rice and the meat and the vegetables a little bit before we do the sauce, because I'm going to do the sauce separately so that I can make a nice glaze to go over the fried rice. So, I do have a little bit of soy sauce that we keep in house all the time, a little bit of rice vinegar. Again, I have the sesame oil. And when I go to the store, I kind of look at the Asian aisle and I look at different sauces. And so I'll pick something up and then I will have a different mix of a variety, right? And so it's always about what do you have in your refrigerator. So we have a little spicy Szechuan sauce and some pasta grillos. The meat stir frying here. We're going to add a little bit of soy. I'm going to take a little bit of the ponzu sauce. I'm going to add a little bit of each of these just to the mixture, just to kind of help season this. Here we're getting to the finishing piece of our Asian steak fried rice. So we're going to pan this up here. This is all nice and hot. And so we're going to make a quick sauce. So utilizing the same pan, we're going to go ahead and take a little bit of I held back a little bit of the ginger and the garlic to make the sauce, and we're going to saute this with a little bit of sesame oil. Not a lot, because this is, again, sesame oil is very pungent. And a little bit of olive oil. Not a lot now this time. And so we're just going to saute the ginger and the garlic. And as that continues to sizzle a little bit, we're going to add a little bit of soy sauce. I'm going to add a little bit of rice vinegar. I'm going to add a little bit more of the pot sticker sauce. a little bit more of the Szechuan spicy sauce. And then I have a little bit of chicken broth here. Give it a bit of a stir so the flavors start to mend. And I have a little bit of chicken broth here. And again, cornstarch will make things glazy. And so I have a little bit of cornstarch here. We're going to add about a spoonful, tablespoon or so into the cold broth. And we're just going to go ahead and make a little slurry with the broth and the cornstarch. And as that ginger, garlic, sesame, Szechuan sauce begins to simmer and boil down, we're going to add in our broth with the chicken broth with a little bit of the cornstarch in there. And as we add this, it'll come to a quick simmer, and the cornstarch thickens the sauce very quickly. And as you can see, this is going to give a nice glaze to fried rice. We're going to add a little bit extra liquid into this. As you can see, add a little extra too much cornstarch. That's what happens when you're at home. Things like that will happen, but you just have to know how to adjust. So we have the sauce here simmering. Once that comes to a simmer, the cornstarch has done its job and it has thickened the sauce. And so we're going to
be hot.
It'll be hot. Pretty tasty. Nice little spice to the Szechuan sauce. I'm going to add a little bit of sesame seeds. Fried rice there. And then garnish with a little bit of green onion. A little few seeds on top there. We have a nice little steak fried rice with a Szechuan peppercorn sauce.